What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports. I'm actually you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the impact players for the New Orleans Saints going into the 2019 NFL season. So the first player that we have on this list is halfback Alvin Kamara. He is now going to be the lead back for the New Orleans Saints. Now with the departure of Mark Ingram, he went to the Pro Bowl last season, had 883 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry, had 709 receiving yards, had 81 receptions and 4 touchdowns. And Alvin Kamara, now with Mark Ingram leaving, they got another guy for agency, but I don't think he's going to have that Mark Ingram impact. I expect Alvin Kamara to get the majority of the carries. And the way that Sean Payton utilizes Alvin Kamara is something that I haven't seen in a while, man. Alvin Kamara, he's a very good runner, very elusive, very hard to bring down in the open field. Also very good as a receiving back. You line him up at slot. He can play slot receiver as well. Just all around very balanced and impressive back. And he's going to be in for probably the best season he has had as a pro. Believe he's going to have over 1,000 rushing yards. He could be the first running back we ever seen in NFL history to have. Well, I don't know if it. I don't really know the history, but it's been a while since we had a running back that had 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards at the same time. I think Alvin Kamara could be the running back to do that this year for the New Orleans Saints in 2019. Next up, we have quarterback Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the staple of consistency in the NFL. Last season, he had 3,992 passing yards, passed for 32 touchdowns, had 5 interceptions, and completed 74.4% of his passes, which was one of the highest completion percentages in the NFL last year. Drew Brees, man. I want to see if he can lead the Saints to another Super Bowl, man. He was an MVP candidate, had a very good season for the New Orleans Saints. And I think this year he keeps up the production. This is him and Tom Brady. The older they get, it seems like the better they get, man. And now you got Jared Cook to work with. You have Traquan Smith, who is going to be another guy to look out for. So you also got Jared Cook there. So he just has a lot of weapons around him to work with. And the biggest thing that I'm going to be able to see is how him and whoever the new center is, how are they going to get along? Because Max Unger retired from the NFL due to injuries and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But overall, I think Drew Brees is going to be the same player that he was this past season and the season before that and the season before that. Probably the most consistent quarterback that we have in the NFL right now. The next player that I have on this list is wide receiver Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas was an All-Pro last season, went to the Pro Bowl, had 14,000 receiving yards, 125 receptions, also had 9 touchdowns. Michael Thomas, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, has been one of the best wide receivers, but he didn't really blow up into being this recognizable name until this year, in my opinion. That's when he really put the league on notice. And is he a top 5 wide receiver? I will let you guys decide that down in the comment section down below. But Michael Thomas is a very good wide receiver, has very good hands, very good in the red zone as well. So he's going to be in for another productive season as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes over 1,500 receiving yards this year. Very, very good wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Next up, we have wide receiver Traquan Smith. In his rookie year, he had 427 receiving yards, 28 receptions, and 5 touchdowns. Now, Traquan Smith, he showed his flash of potential from time to time last season, but he never really was able to get stuff going and never really materialized his rookie year. But this season, now going into his second year, I believe he's going to be more comfortable now that he has his foot wet in the NFL. And we often see rookie wide receivers, they often struggle to find consistency. But this season, I believe he's going to have an even better year. Probably going to have 1,000 yards. If Drew Brees wasn't the quarterback, I would say he probably wouldn't have 1,000 yards. But as Drew Brees as a quarterback, he's going to get this guy the ball. He's going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to probably have more receptions and more targets since he's going to be more involved in the offense. He probably is going to be the starter this year. I'll say 1,000 yards receiving, 60, 50 receptions, and 7 touchdowns is my expectations for Traquan Smith going into the 2019 NFL season. Next up, we have tight end Jared Cook. who signed with the New Orleans Saints in free agency over the New England Patriots, was the best player that the Oakland Raiders had on the offensive side of the ball, had 896 receiving yards, 68 receptions, and also had 6 touchdowns. Was very, very good, and he's going to have a very good year with the New Orleans Saints because now they actually have another weapon at Drew Brees' disposal. So now all he's going to do is have another outstanding year. I think he'll go out over 1,000 receiving yards. He's going to have 80 receptions and he's going to have 8 to 10 touchdowns because that's just what the New Orleans Saints do. They find ways to get their playmakers the ball, and that's what Jared Cook is. He's just a playmaker, and I think he's going to be on his way to having another good season. Next up on this list, we have defensive end Cam Jordan. Last season, he had 49 tackles, 12 sacks, and 6 pass deflections. One of the most underrated pass rushers that we have in the game today. I'm expecting him to keep up the production. He is a very, very good defensive end, man. Nobody really talks about him a lot. 49 tackles, 12 sacks. That's very good. He's gonna be on his way to another good season this year. I believe he's gonna make it to the Pro Bowl. He'll probably have either 12 sacks or more. I would like to say he could be capable of having 15 sacks, but I believe that would be setting the bar a little bit too high. But being realistic, I could see him having 12 sacks or more this year. And that's my expectation for Cameron Jordan. He is the one of the best players on this New Orleans Saints defense. Next up, we have defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins. He was very good for New Orleans Saints up front as well. Had 40 tackles and 8 sacks, and he's a guy who can also have more production. He's a guy who I believe can have 10 sacks at that defensive tackle position. Very, very good at his position. He's another underrated guy. This season I believe he's gonna have 10 sacks or more. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 12 sacks. I think he's that good, and he also is going to make it to the Pro Bowl. The New Orleans Saints front seven is going to be very, very good this year. And don't be surprised if these guys end up being top 5 or top 10 in the NFL in sacks per game this year. I think they could end up being top 5 in sacks this year. So next up, we have defensive end Marcus Davenport. Now, Marcus Davenport is interesting because he was a rookie. They were trying to find ways to get him on the field. Also, he was battling with some injuries. But when he played, he had some good moments. He also had some bad moments. 22 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. His damn stats should go up. The Saints, they did trade a lot to get this guy. So you're expecting this guy to have a pretty good season. He should double his sack total. 8 sacks would be pretty good expectations for Marcus Davenport. Some people may say 10, but I think 10 might be pushing the envelope for a second-year guy. But as he gets more, he got better throughout the season. The more reps he got, the more experience he got, the better he got during the season. So if he's able to stay healthy, I think he's a 8 sack guy. 10 sacks would be exceeding my expectation. I'm not expecting 10 sacks out of him. 8 sacks is my expectation for Marcus Davenport because you traded a lot to get this guy. So this guy better be that good this year. 8 sacks is pretty solid for him going into year 2 in 2019. Next up, we have cornerback Marshon Lattimore, who is easily one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, who has did it very, very quickly. 59 tackles, 2 interceptions, 12 pass deflections, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. Marshon Lattimore, ladies and gentlemen, has emerged as an elite cornerback very quickly, top 10 at his position, and I believe he is the best player on this New Orleans Saints defense. He's a definition of a lockdown corner. Not too many wide receivers can do a lot on him, man. He doesn't allow a lot of touchdowns, doesn't allow a lot of big plays, man. So he's going to be in for another season. I believe this is going to be that year that he just goes crazy and that he becomes an all-pro this year. So Marshon Lattimore, ladies and gentlemen, mark it down, record it. I have Marshon Lattimore as an all-pro in 2019. Next up, safety Marcus Williams. Now, Marcus Williams is most notably known for that play when he fell to tackle Stephon Diggs in Minnesota. The Minnesota Miracle all happened because of him. But other than that, it's sad that that's the only moment people remember him for because Marcus Williams is a very good player. He's a very solid safety, 59 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 1 pass deflection. And like Marshon Lattimore, I think Marcus Williams is in for a breakout season as well. This dude is a very good player, man. And I wish people could just get the Minnesota Miracle out of their head. That's the first thing. When you think about Marcus Williams, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And this is a very good football player. So let me know what you guys think about this list down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.